Hey guys! A lot of you have been waiting for this well, not as long as I have, but a while. I finally got my doll! Yay! Those of you who have seen my previous videos, you know that I do have a doll already. Her name is Anna Maria, but she has no backstory. So I finally got Kit. Took forever, and I promised you when I got him that I would make another video. And a couple of you asked, so I was really flattered that you guys asked for me to do a video. So this is him in his winter gear. I was gonna put us in matching outfits, but I was too lazy. I have like this jacket with fur, this vest with fur and stuff too, but I was too lazy. That wouldn't have been geeky at all. So, I don't really know what to say. Talking about my doll's backstories is kind of difficult. Maybe we should just take a minute and ogle at my finally complete doll. You guys, this took 2 years. This right here took 2 years. If you want to include me getting the Doll Zone Mo, seeing that the Doll Zone Mo was not right for the character I had in mind, if you want to include all that stuff, this puppy right here took 2 friggin' years. Oh my god. But totally worth it because the end result is awesome. So, a little about Kit. He's the only doll, again, with a backstory. Anna Maria does not have a backstory. She's just my pretty Lolita girl. I'm working on a backstory just so she kind of has some to relate to in the doll meets. But I just bought her because she was pretty. I bought her so that I would have something to pass on to my children when I have children. I'm far too young right now. Just to pass down the line. Oh, funny story while we're sitting here. My brother, he doesn't live here anymore. Married with kids, lives out of the house, obviously. He came up to visit, and Kit hadn't been completed yet. And he's like, "Oh, I've seen all those pictures on your Facebook of this doll. Let me see these dolls. What are these?" So I was like, "Oh, sure, I'll get him," because I'm all excited because my brother wants to know about my weird hobby. And I come downstairs, and his exact words were, "Holy shit." He's all, "I knew they were big, but I didn't think they were that big." He thought they were like Barbie-sized big. I was like, no. So he was ogling at the size of the doll. So, alright, I guess, again, it was kind of hard for me talking about my backstories. I'm just so happy to have him. I think a lot of people who aren't in the hobby don't recognize what amount of work goes into making these dolls. It's not just, oh, I bought a doll, I'm done. A lot of times we have characters surrounding these dolls, so it's a lot of careful planning, a lot of money budgeting, a lot of searching, careful calculation. Just the fact that this took 2 years is enough to tell you that these dolls are an extensive hobby that most people wouldn't really realize. It's art, it's design, it's finance. So, and I'm happy to say that my art is finally done. So, this is Kit. He is my only boy, and I plan to get more boys because I think the boys are really fun to make. He's a little bit of a girly boy, but obviously. But that's okay because he's still my boy. I don't even know how to begin. The whole reason Kit, my OC, started, it was like 4 years ago, I want to say. And I was role-playing with my friend, and we did a lot of role-plays, like a lot. And I always made a character. They weren't super dynamic because I knew that we would get bored and move on to the next RP eventually. So there was never really much to them. They were pretty basic. They were still good, well-rounded characters with good personalities, but they weren't extensive. They didn't have really a backstory or anything. They were just living in that moment in that RP. But then I was inspired. I read a manga called Totally Captivated. That was it. And it's a yaoi, and it's really good. I recommend reading it for those of you who haven't. It's actually really cute. I read that, and that's about a boy who has to work for a loan shark in order to pay off his loans, his student loans and parents' loans and all that jazz. I don't know why, but my mind immediately transferred, and I told my friend, I know what RP I want to do. She's like, oh, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to do an RP with a hooker and a Yakuza member. She goes, okay. So that's how Kit came to be. Yes, surprise, surprise, guys. Kit is a hooker, a prostitute, a gentleman of the night, or as they say in Japan, what I prefer to call him, a kachma, and I believe I'm saying that right. You don't need to correct me if I'm wrong, because if I'm wrong, you know. A kachma is not super young, but young, like not like the old gigolos you see walking the streets. A young male Japanese prostitute. That's what they called them in, I believe, the Edo period. They were called kachma. So that's what he is. It's a more gentle word than hooker escort. But so that's how he came to be. Eventually, my friend and I stopped RPing. Real life got in the way. I still wanted to RP, but she couldn't do it anymore, so we moved on, but I kept Kit because he actually became a well-rounded character with a backstory and with fears, and fun fact, his biggest fear is the ocean. He lives in Japan, on an island, near the coast, and he has never been to the ocean, has no interest in going to the ocean, thinks it's the scariest thing ever. Will not go. This sassy boy will not step foot on the sand. Don't even try it. So there's your fun fact. Anyway, his backstory is that Kit's father is falling over. Kit's dad is an English gentleman. Not really much of a gentleman, but you know. An English gentleman that is constantly in Japan on business. So Kit's family had to move to Japan for his father's sake. And upon moving, Kit's father had a little bit of an affinity for prostitutes. Women prostitutes, not males. And he went to this one constantly called the House of Flowers. And he would always go in and request the same woman. Well, as time went on, at this point Kit's 12, the whorehouse was adjusting. The mistress and the master of the house were getting rid of the female prostitutes because they wanted to be different than the other whorehouses on the street, wanted to give you a little bit more of a theme. And so they were getting rid of the women and replacing all of them with men. So they would be the only gay place on the street, whereas most were just women or a mixture of many women and here and there a couple men. Good business strategy, considering all the other ones surrounding them. So Kit's dad wanted to purchase the woman that he had been constantly seeing for all those years, but he didn't have enough money to purchase her. And he was not about to go into debt. So upon asking the master and mistress of the house, they said, when he asked, well, why are you selling off all your women? He's like, well, we're only doing boys now. We're going to get rid of all the girls and we're going to bring in all the boys. And so Kit's dad said, oh, well, I have a boy, still young and easy to mold because he is so young. What if we traded? So Kit was traded for the woman that his father had been seeing, the prostitute his father had been seeing. Prostitute and the father ran away together, lived happily ever after, what have you, and Kit was left in the whorehouse. Kit initially didn't have any bad feelings towards his father because he didn't really understand what he had done. He was only 12 years old. He was old enough to know, but not really conscious of what the whole situation was, that he was going to be staying there forever. So at the same time, there is another boy. His name is Aditya. And Aditya was taken to the whorehouse by gang members, the Yakuza members. Initially, Aditya worked for the northern Yakuza members, and he assassinated the southern Yakuza members by seduction, lured them away, and then killed them using the art of akui, I believe it's called, akui, which is the art of concealing small weapons on one's person. Which, if you've read a Deacon, you know what it is, or Atacon, however you want to pronounce it, Japanese words, I'm not perfect. So, what happened was Aditya said, I'm done, I don't want to do this anymore, I quit, I'm bored, and went off to run his own tea shop. Well, the northern Yakuza members didn't take too kindly to that, especially because he knew everything. Rather than kill him, they drugged him, captured him, made him extremely weak from starvation and constant drugging, and took him to the House of Flowers, where he would be an escort. This was long before the house became all men. And when the southern Yakuza learned of this, of course, they would constantly visit the whorehouse and abuse him and take vengeance on what he had done. Well, around the time when Aditya was finally getting his strength back, getting his training back, he was ready to leave. He was just going to leave, of course. There was nothing holding him there besides the fact that he was very weak and wouldn't survive 2 minutes outside if someone had opposed him. So at the same time, he's about to leave, and he sees poor little 12-year-old Kit, who just walked into a whorehouse abandoned by his father. And he's like, Aditya's heart kind of got to him, and he decided to take Kit under his wing. Now, don't worry, at 12 years old, he hadn't started to be a prostitute. He was, there are different levels in the whorehouse. There's servers, dancers, it goes up the chain, and then there's the prostitutes, which make the most money in the house. He taught Kit how to do his makeup, how to serve, how to dance, all the basic things. And then when Kit turned 16, that's when he started to get into prostitution. So Kit, over time, given his pretty boy looks and dyeing his hair to an exotic color, he became top earner of the house. And Aditya stayed because he had grown to enjoy the house. It's not a bad place. It's a very classy place. It's not horrible. Very upscale. It's expensive, so it's mainly for the upscale people, not the trash of the town who can afford like a $2 hooker. It's a very expensive place. So he stayed, and Kit stayed top earner and didn't talk about his father. His original name was Kitsuyo. His full name is Kitsuya Cressida. Sasuke Cressida. Kitsuya Sasuke Cressida. Try saying that 10 times fast. So Kit abandoned that name. He wasn't going to be Kitsuyo anymore. Actually, Aditya changed it after his father left him like that. He didn't want Kit to be stuck with a name given to him by a man who didn't care about him. So he said, okay, you're not Kitsuyo anymore, you're just Kit. So Kit abandoned his name, didn't look for his father, and just lived his life as a whore very happily. He got a ton of attention, he gets a ton of money, he gets to go shopping. He doesn't really mind. It's not a sad life, it's a very wonderful life being a Japanese prostitute in the House of Flowers. So, upon being top earner, this is where the story changed in my mind and what happened to him, because my friend Camille saw Kit, saw his, she's in my doll group, she saw his head before it was finished, before he was even finished, and she said, I want him. I was like, well, you can't have him, he's mine. He's like, okay, well, she goes, I want to make his boyfriend. I was like, okay. So I kind of abandoned his previous boyfriend, which was Ryu, a Yakuza member, and suddenly Kit became the property of a businessman. I won't tell you all of Camille's backstory with her character, because that's her character, but I'll tell you the basics because it's crucial to his development. Kit doesn't want to be purchased. No interest in only being with one person at all. None at all. And he knows he's not going to get paid if he's purchased. He's not going to make any money. He can still live in the whorehouse, but he will be purchased under only one person. So, Sakurai, which is Camille's character, purchases him. And Kit is not happy. Not happy at all. He doesn't like the fact that he can't be with anyone. No one will dare touch him because Sakurai is a very powerful man. He runs an investment company, I believe. Camille can tell you more about that when she has him. I'm sure she'll make a prompt for him. So no one will dare touch Kit, even though Kit flirts with them. They're frightened that they'll disappear one day. He's not a very kind businessman. He's more of a corrupt one. Not he has ties to people, but not the Yakuza. He's not a gang member kind of guy. He's just a very powerful person. We all know how businessmen are. So, anyway, so Kit wasn't happy about that. And they have a constant... I won't give you, that's the backstory. I won't tell you what happens in the future. I'm actually going to be writing a story about Kit and the House of Flowers. House of Flowers was actually a name that Camille came up with and we agreed upon. Because the story got more extensive when a bunch of people in the group were like, oh my god, a hooker? A whorehouse? I want in! So they all decided to make their own characters and their own dolls, so now we have an actual doll House of Flowers set, which is really cool, actually. So it was originally my idea is everyone is a part of now, which is really neat that we all share something and can have fun with it. So I will be writing the story. Kit's the main character and Sakurai, but there are other characters involved too. Kit's the main character because, well, originally it was my idea, and because that's where the story blossomed from. So, there are other characters that are the property of my friends, like Suichi, and they will, I'm sure, make prompts one day and tell you all about it. But if you want to read the story, I'll probably be posting it on Fiction Press when I get around to writing the first chapter. Right now I'm just writing little snippets for my friend Camille, who demands little scenes with Sakurai and Kit that are really funny because they bicker constantly. Mostly about Kit cleaning his room. They have maids. Kit ain't gonna clean nothing. Anyway, so I'll post that on BJD Addicts or in the comments below when I finally write it. It'll be on Fiction Press, and it is not for people under the age of 18. I will tell you that. It's, prostitutes. It's just, it's not. It's not for kids under the age of 18. So if you're in the hobby and you're under the age of 18, I apologize. You can't read it. I won't allow it. I will not have a hand in your corruption. So I hope you guys look forward to that and that you read the story. And you look forward to getting to know my character more, and that you're happy for me that I finally finished my Grail doll and my character, like I am. And, yeah, that's all I have to say. That's his backstory. He's a prostitute. He's not in his uniform right now. He's in his winter gear, which is way too many layers for him. Does not normally wear this much clothes. So that's his story, and I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed looking at him, because I love him, and I want all of you to love him. I'll do a photo shoot eventually, when I'm not lazy, and when the lighting is actually good, because it's super rainy here. That's all I got for you guys. I kept it under 20 minutes, by a minute, actually a couple seconds. I better end the video before it gets to 20. Bye guys, thanks for watching!